beginning February here out in Idaho, and it's kind of a rainy day, but we've been meaning to get out and do this. One day, 2 years ago, I noticed on a pretty nice day there was a big old fat squirrel up in one of our trees in the backyard, and he was just hanging there, just licking the bark, and it was real wet, but it was dry out and sunny. And I thinking to myself, what's that squirrel doing licking? And as fat as he was, it dawned on me that that's one of my maple trees, and that squirrel is licking maple syrup. So it dawned on me that apparently you don't have to be in the northeast of the United States and the New England states to tap for maple syrup, but maybe it's something that anybody can do if they have a maple tree and it's a big enough tree. So did a little research on it, and sure enough, we were able to tap the trees, and we made our own maple syrup. So we're going to do it again this year, and we have about I have 3 to 5 trees I could tap. I'll at least do 1 or 2, maybe a third one here. But kind of the most important things, the temperature's got to be it's got to be getting down below freezing at nighttime, and then during the day warming up to maybe the upper 30s to the low 40s. That's kind of ideal to get that sap flowing. And then you just want to tap your tree. Generally, you want it to be about 2.5 to 3.5 feet from the ground. And then ideally, when you look at the places that know a lot more about this than we do here in Idaho, they recommend using a drill bit around 5/16. I just do around that size to 1/2 inch, or maybe a little bigger depending on what fits my apparatus for getting the maple sap. And then a few other key points that you want to do, we can show you as we move along on this, and then go from there. All right, so when picking, got some geese flying up overhead. When you're picking the tree size, a 12 to 20 inch tree, you only want 1 tap, and a tree 20 to 27 inches, you can do 2, and anything over 27, you do 3 max. When you do the tap, you want it to drill about 1 to 2 inches past the bark thickness, and then I just take a clean drill bit that I cleaned off with some warm soap and water, no rust on it, and just make sure I drill it up at a slight angle so the sap will want to run down into my maple collection. Alright, so this is our cart for our collection system. I use some clean water jugs, not the normal gallon. I don't want stuff getting in there. I'm leaving it out over here. You do want to make sure if you tap someplace, I think I tapped over here a couple years ago, if you want to tap at least 6 inches away from your last tap from last year. And then I just use clear plastic tubing, stick one end of the tubing into the hole, and then the other end into the bucket, a little duct tape, and keep it sealed off, and it works amazing. Nothing too special, I just kind of get whatever I have available for clean tubing around the place. I have a couple different tubes I've used. Cordless drill bit. I got a 1/2 inch for the bigger tube I'm going to use. And then I got my helpers over here. All right, guys? Okay. All right, so we're going to go ahead and pick our spot. It's about 3 feet-ish above the ground there. And take a tap and get past the bark. Tilting it up just slightly. And then about
why are you doing that?
Gonna make a hole so we can put our tube in there to get our maple sap in there, bud. Clean that off.
I'll see it.
You want to see in the hole?
Yeah.
Go ahead and look in there. There's a little hole in there.
A big hole out.
Okay, hold that, honey. All of a sudden, Okay. Let's see if that's gonna be big enough.
Can I just sweat it?
What?
Can I just sweat it down?
There we go. I got a little hole on the top of that tube I don't want, but I don't want to cut that off. Back up, Zane, please. I'm going to put a little bit of duct tape on the top of that. And then we'll collect that and we'll see how we're doing. And then if this is working, that's what I do. Then we'll do another tree another day. Alright, it is in February. The weather has changed. Really started to warm up here in Idaho. And this is the continuation of the maple tree tapping in Idaho. And this one is almost full. It's flowing pretty good now, I think, with the warmer weather. Take these pumpkins to the chickens. Definitely had the cold weather. Things just weren't flowing. It was just so cold about a week and a half ago, and then things just started warming up pretty quick. And now we've got, oh, that one's full. Oh, wow. So the maple syrup, this one's so full I'm losing it. It's dripping out the back valve here, so I got to empty this one. And start boiling that water down. And the other tree, and that one is full as well too. So these have got to be emptied because I'm losing syrup. Well, the maple water, I guess, and then we'll boil it down to syrup. It takes a lot of water to make a pint of syrup, but it's pretty good, tasty. So the trees here that are a little bit in the warmer sun, they're warm. Their juices are flowing better in the sun here. So these two are full. The other one's about 3/4 full. The first one. Anyways, I'm going to go ahead and empty these into a pot or a bucket and start boiling them down. Alright, so we got more tree sap to add in here. The bad news is it takes about 40 gallons of tree sap to make a gallon of maple syrup. So this is more of a project of fun than it is of actual cost savings. But I've been boiling this down. We want to do it on a weekend. It's better to do it outside and use firewood if you got a lot of extra firewood like I have. So this is all the maple tree sap we boiled down. And now you use a filter. They make filters you can get online. And you want to filter this probably a couple times, but I like to filter it when it's running. And hold that, buddy, so it doesn't drop. And just filter out a lot of the sediment. And then I'll probably filter it another time, but you want to filter it when it's cold, obviously, because it's a lot easier. And I think you're supposed to filter it. I have in the past when it's syrup, but it's a lot harder. It takes a lot longer. But I have a big heavy felt filter, and then the two thinner material filters on the inside. So there's 3 filters here total. Oh, careful, hold it. It's okay. We'll wash it off. You got it?
Can I lick it?
No, not yet.
Why?
Because your hands are dirty. Hold that open. Hold it, bud. There.
I'll hold
There's a little bit of ash in there from the fire, but a little ash never hurt. All right, so this is the last part of the maple syrup. It's been boiled outside, condensed down approximately 25 gallons of tree sap, which is like water consistency. And so now we boil it down to it's looking and smelling and tasting like maple syrup in there. Let's see and I just stuck a thermometer, meat thermometer that I have, see if that works. I've used a candy thermometer before, but it's not as accurate. So we want to get the temperature basically to boil the syrup 7 degrees above boiling point. So boiling point of water is at sea level 212 degrees Fahrenheit. And where we're at 2,800 feet elevation, it's actually 207 degrees for a boiling point of water, and then we want to go 7 degrees above that. So we'll be at 214 when we want to stop boiling this. So this here, I set an alarm for 210 degrees, so I keep an eye on this. Do not want to burn and boil this over. The other thing we'll do as it's boiling is use some sort of olive oil or fat or butter and just drip a little bit of that in. As this gets really foamy, it can boil over. And if you add a little fat to it, a few drips at a time, it'll help keep those bubbles down. So we'll watch this as we go along. So this is the foam. It's starting to build up, almost to the 0.7 degrees. Past, you stir it, it starts foaming up more. But past boiling, it's getting close. We'll put a little butter in here to kind of help try to get this foam down. It'll help reduce that. We are getting really close. Alright, so as the temperature thermometer goes off, I kind of stir this to help bring it back down to make sure that it's not just hitting a hot spot. And then it drops back down because I want this to make sure that it's up at 214 consistently, so that I know that this is going to be nice and thick for the syrup consistency. Alright, I just turned it off. It reached the I'll turn it back on. Reach the consistent point of 214. There's actually websites online you can calculate your exact pressure that you have outside with elevation, and then from there you can tell you what your boiling point of water is, and then add 7 degrees to know when to stop boiling the maple syrup. And this looks like this is going to make actually a little bit more maple syrup than I thought. Yeah, that's nice, bud.
You can sweet with it. You can sweet with it, Dad.
So it just hit 213, went to 215. I'll stir it one more time. See if it'll drop at all. Nope. So yeah, it needs to be done. It's done. We'll let this cool down to about 180-85 degrees, and then we're going to run it through one of the big felt filters one last time, one of these filters that you can buy reusable. And then we'll filter this into the jars, and then let them seal. And they can either stay on the shelf or we'll end up putting it in the fridge for storage. And these will be good for the next year. So I can see in the spoon as it's cooling down, the syrup is starting to thicken up. As it cools down more and more, it'll thicken. Kind of a common sense issue, but the taste of this is amazing. It has a nice amber consistency. Not a maple syrup expert, but it does taste good. So it's working out good. All right, the temperature is where I want it. It's about 199. So we're gonna, oh, it's getting sticky. Perfect. This is gonna be amazing. Let me get another filter or two in here. When it gets clogged, then I'll pull one out and go to the next one. You don't have to do this filtration, but I don't like that sand in there. It looks bad at the bottom. You can just use the syrup and then the very bottom not use it. It's just a mineral, I think leftover mineral from the sugar, but I personally like it looking clean. So I filter it out. It's kind of a messy job, but whoop, there's better ways to do this, but I'm doing a small amount, so. And usually I have a helper, but everybody's gone to bed. So this is going to be a little bit more difficult. And it does take a while for this. It's slow. May not have the patience to keep filtering all this. We'll see. Okay, change plans. That's going to take way too long for that filtration. Not sure if I have the patience for that. So we're just going to do this as it is. And then we will deal with it. There, usually you'll see if there's any, I've already filtered this once. And if there's sediment that's in there, you can always just draw this off the top. And it'll settle to the bottom and draw it to the, or switch it, in the end if you want, but it's just going to take way too long. So we'll leave a little bit of space here. Going to make some different sizes, maybe a few smaller in case we want to give some to family. Okay, bud, stand back. And we'll see how clear this gets over time. I'm sure there's a lot of connoisseurs out there, but it's not bad for backyard maple syrup making. It does get clear as it settles, so we'll see what it looks like when it settles, gets cold. And as this is cooling down the last bit, it's getting nice and thick. And maple syrup real maple syrup is not the same thickness as the fake stuff, but it does have that nice slow drip forming on it. With a spoon, you can clean the rest out for a little treat. All right, so this is what we have made right now. It's a little messy on the kitchen, been a little bit busy with kids, but we'll have to add this up and see what we got.